Hello dog lovers, welcome back to another episode of Dog Training at Home with me. My name is Jarvis from Jarvis Dog Boarding and Training, a luxury dog training hotel in Southampton in the UK. This is a free dog training video series to support you at home, make you feel safe and ready to take on any training challenges you may face with your dog. So today is a really funny subject to my mind because I've trained lots of dogs where owners suffer in this area. Are you being trained by your dog? Now, our dogs are so clever. They get the better of us all the time, and the naughtier the dog is, usually the more intelligent they are. If you find yourself that you've got a really sassy little dog, I'll bet good money that they are smart as a button. So are you being trained by your dog? What are the signs that you're being trained by your dog? Most people love their dogs to death, and we all have different experiences in life that make us behave in certain ways. And for some of us, we feel guilty about maybe not doing enough for our animals. For no reason at all, other than perhaps an early life experience has taught us to feel that way. So sometimes when our dogs come over to us and they sit and they stare at us for a while, we start to think, oh, I should really give them a biscuit. They're being so good. Now, if you're a victim of this guilt-tripping experience, you are not alone. Lots of people experience it as well. I once trained a dog for people who I think it was a Frenchie or a Boston Terrier, something like that. And what it would do, it would go and sit in the kitchen, in the middle of the kitchen, and it would just wait, and it would look at its owners. And if they didn't move fast enough to get it a treat, it would start howling and barking. And this is a really good example of humans being trained. This dog learnt that if it sat nicely, it would get a treat. Then after a while, it learnt that if it just sat for a while and stared, it could get a treat as well, because the owners were thinking to themselves, well, the dog's being really good. I mean, they're sitting really nicely. I mean, we didn't ask them to sit, but they're doing really, really well. And I've read this book that says if the dog does good behaviour, you better reward it. So we'll give them a treat without them even being asked to sit. So the dog has already trained the owner, hey, if I go in the kitchen, I sit, they'll feed me. And then, of course, it got to the point where the dog realised that it could shape the boundary, which is if they're not paying attention, it can make some noise, get their attention and bark and howl. So this was a really strange, really strange situation that we went and dealt with. And it was absolutely fine in the end. We resolved the behaviour. It was no problem at all. But sometimes we all do it. Now, another example is when you're training your puppy, for example, and you are asking new behaviours of them and they've learnt a new behaviour. Let's say, for example, they have learnt paw or to, shake hands. After a while, you might find they just come over to you and start pawing at you. And of course, to us, it's adorable because it looks a lot like they're asking to shake hands. But actually, this behaviour could be interpreted as a little bit demanding. Feed me,